So, Mark, did you see that video of the robots working together? The Zoox missed its turn. The Tesla autopilot backed up and let it go. The future is bright.
I think that this is the inflection point. This is what we'll look back to when the world ends because the robots have taken over.
I mean, they're still better drivers than humans. So happy Wednesday, everybody. A week ago, No Doubt debuted at the Sphere, and because of all the other news, we hadn't had time to discuss it. And I think it was a great time. Everybody seemed to enjoy it, and they dropped oranges for everybody instead of the apples for The Wizard of Oz.
Well, dang, now I wish I would have gone so I could have one of each. Maybe you can still buy them in the gift shop like you can the apples if you didn't get one. But no, I was excited when No Doubt was announced. They've always been known as one of the best bands out there for putting on a show. And I think Sphere just takes that to another level, and they would take advantage of it. And everything I've seen from people looks like they did just that. I don't know if they've overtaken the Backstreet Boys that everybody says is the best thing ever in the Sphere, but it looks like they did a really good job.
Yeah, if I'm being honest, just from third-party observation on the internet, it does seem like Backstreet Boys got more fanfare, but No Doubt certainly speaking to an entire generation, and it looked very good. I read in the review journal that their first performance in Vegas, 91 at the Shark Club, the only band ever to perform there. That place wasn't around very long, and they stayed at the Aladdin during that tour.
I mean, look at that history right there. That's pretty crazy that they're the only band ever to play at that place.
Just a sign that we're all getting old. So let's talk about our next story. Happy Hours LV. I came across this. It just popped up on my YouTube feed. And this is as self-described Gen X Millennial nightclub because we don't like to stay up late. They do it from 7 to 11 p.m., rotating venues. I think the next one is in June in a couple weeks. $10 in advance, 15 at the door. Get your dance on, old people style. And by old, I mean me.
I love this idea. This is pretty cool. Something different. The old saying goes, nothing good happens after 2 a.m. I think once you get into your late 30s, early 40s, you realize that probably nothing good happens after 12 a.m. So I love that it's cut off at 11. And it's cool that it's only $10 to get in. They're playing music from the 80s, 90s, all the songs we know. And we know well because we didn't have Google or anything to tell us what the lyrics were. So we had to learn. Maybe we learned the wrong ones. But what a fun idea. And I wish it was like more of a where you would go a weekly plate. Like this was the business and they owned a spot that you could go to all the time. But as long as they keep touring quite a bit, I think that'll be fun.
Yeah, the June 12th event is at Grey Witch. July, they have one at Notoriety. So it is moving around. It is funny when you watch her short, it's like every keyword is just what the young kids would use to make fun of us. Like the songs that we want from then, going to bed early. But it's the truth and it's okay.
I love that she says millennials, Gen X, we want to have fun, but we also got crap to do the next day.
Well, in a second, we're going to talk about something that the younger kids like to do. But before we do that, I would love to invite you to subscribe. Thousands of you who are watching this are not subscribed. Just hit the button, the notification bell, and you will get to see all of our videos when they are released. But being a tourist in Las Vegas, Mark, over the last 10 years or so has meant that there's certain smells, a certain green thing all around. And I guess the powers that be say we don't have enough of that we haven't let it be in the casinos, that it's not everywhere, and that it's hurting business. This is nuts.
One of the biggest complaints we've seen in the comments and stuff over the last couple of years is the smell of, and that I don't know that it would be better if it was in casinos or if it was more prevalent. I don't know that people would enjoy that experience. Now, what I will say is when they have a business that's specifically for this, like the hotel that tried to launch as one of these locations, and they were still kind of limited. I didn't understand that. I feel like if this business is built around it, then it should be able to be done wherever the business says it should be done.
Well, business leaders sort of agree with you, saying that there's a gap between how visitors behave in social settings and how regulated products are currently segregated under Nevada law, which is true, right? People are doing it everywhere, even if it's not allowed.
Yeah, and I think that it's been that way for a while. Even before laws changed, people started doing it more and more. And part of that was the medical prescriptions that people had, and they felt more comfortable doing it places. I think if people knew where to go and where maybe they would focus on going to those places, or if they had bars and restaurants that were open to it or had certain sections for it and all those things, people would congregate there because it is a more social thing. I guess you can always just grab a gummy if you really want to do it and not bother people.
I think this is a terrible idea. We don't need it everywhere else. It's already bad enough, but chime in down below. I love how these stories just flow into each other, though. Area 15, their new drop tower, is about to open, or maybe it already did. I saw a video that said May 7th it was going to open, but I don't actually think it's open yet. It's called the Eyedropper, Mark, and it's perfect complement to everything else we've been talking about.
I was wondering where you were going with this when you said they just roll into each other. I'm like, I don't know. Okay, Visine, I got it.
There you go. I don't know. It's, transitions aren't the easiest thing in the world, but this is opening at Area 15, another ride, another spectacle.
I mean, we did I don't remember what it's called, but the one where you go up and you sit at the top and you have a drink. And I know this isn't that. This is more of a actual ride that you see in fairs or amusement parks and stuff like that. But I thought that was so cool that you would sit up there and you got a really awesome view of the Vegas Strip, and it was kind of unique and something you don't get anywhere else. You'll get similar type of views of this on the way up, at least. On the way down, you probably won't know what's happening.
Yeah, just a reminder, there's so much going on there at Area 15. Yeah, this was a big project of my friend, and so glad to see it finally open. So on the last show, Mark, you said we talked too much about the Vanderpump Hotel, but we have to talk about this. Bravo, reality show. That's what made Lisa Vanderpump famous, was reality shows on Bravo. And indeed, she's filming one for the Vanderpump Hotel. I guess this will be a limited series, and it's going to cover all of getting the hotel ready, decorating it, everything else. And then the finale will be at the grand opening.
Yeah, I think this is a good idea, and I'm surprised they haven't done something like this with her for her restaurant openings, or just kind of like Vanderpump Rules, where it's about the staff at her restaurants. You would think that some of the Vegas locations would have something similar, like a Vegas Vanderpump Rules, and maybe they'll do that with the casino. Don't you think that would be a really unique idea, something good? We saw what Real World did for the Palms. I think that something like that could bring just as many people into the Vanderpump Hotel if they did a show around all the people that work there.
What about what Real World did for Gold Spike?
Killed it.
I mean,
nobody was watching Real World. Nobody was watching Real World by then. It was like way past its prime.
No, the Palm season was legendary. And as you said, it was right when the casino opened, the Maloofs, the big splash of the Palms. And it was great. I could see it being interesting. It doesn't seem like that's what they're looking to do. But I guess if this is popular, maybe we will see a season 2.
Yeah, I think that would be really interesting if they pulled it off and were able to do that. I don't know what kind of legalities there are or what type of permissions they need to get to film on casino floors. Maybe less so now than ever because we see streamers and everybody else doing it. But I think it would be kind of fun look, and they could probably get a lot of awesome people to work there, interesting people, maybe more so than they normally would have.
Yeah, I think it would bring a lot of life to the place. So we'll see how this all goes. Here is your every show Vanderpump Hotel coverage. This episode is brought to you by Travel Freely, our preferred travel app partner. If you want to travel like us, utilizing miles, points, credit card offers, this is the app. Makes it as simple as possible.
Yeah, it's a free app. You download it, helps you manage your credit cards, gives you ideas and a whole bunch of guides and everything of how to travel with miles and points. So if you've watched our travel show and you're interested in what we do and how we do it, this is a great get started app, and it will help you as you progress through miles and points.
So scan the QR code, click the link down in the description. Thanks for supporting the show. Great partner, Travel Freely. So let's talk gaming and electronic table games and some new ones coming from Interblock. This is their AMUSE series: Destroyer, Naval Strike, Battle for Earth, Freefall, Extra Ball, Cosmic Crash. Naval Strike looks a lot like Battleship. These are social sort of games. They're also at Cosmo. I think those are the only two places they are now. Very social, something new, and as we say, probably for the kids.
Yeah, I think part of this is, throwback to what you grew up playing, part of it. And then the other part is some of these games are something similar is already on the online casinos that people are playing. So I was waiting for this to come in, like DraftKings has Rocket, which is similar to the one that you see where the thing shoots up and you just cash out before it explodes. And people have really enjoyed playing that game. It's pretty simple, but you can just kind of let it ride. And sometimes it goes up to like 200x. Sometimes it blows up at less than 1x. They're bringing those games into the casino, which I think is a good idea. And then these seem like a lot of fun. I'm sure there's not much skill base to it, even though it seems like there is, but it maybe feels like it is, which adds to some of the fun, I think.
Yeah, the Rocket game is interesting because it did show up in casinos. I think we talked about it when it was in all the station casinos maybe a year and a half ago, and that didn't work. It just didn't work. They didn't last very long. People weren't playing them ever. I saw them at Sunset Station. They were always empty. But yeah, they're going to keep trying. And I don't really know what the gameplay is here. So if you've tried these, let us know down in the comments. How are they different? What is the skill set there? But playing Battleship, I think that looks pretty cool.
I agree. I think that having something that from our nostalgia, we always talk about nostalgia in Vegas, having something from our childhoods that we can play and maybe win money on. It's the best of both worlds.
So the 1980s is not only the decade that produced both of us, but it was a special decade in Las Vegas history. It's certainly the one that I remember as a little kid traveling here. And all that to say, the city of Las Vegas has been doing this documentary series once a year. They've been coming out with a new episode, and it has to do with every decade. So they've done the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. They're available on their YouTube channel. I've watched some of them, and they're very good, very detailed. All that to say, the 80s is premiering May 16th at 7 p.m. We're finally getting the 80s.
Now, do they have a episode or part of the episode where they talk about you and your brothers getting thrown in the flamingo clink when you're like 5?
I really hope so. I hope my Neon Museum recording about the water slide and all that makes it into this docu-series. I don't know. It's really cool, though, because it is from the city, some of the best historians. They have some of the best access to media and stuff like that. And if you really love Las Vegas, these are really well done. But for me, I'm very excited to see the 80s because I feel like now we're getting into the era of Vegas that I know and I've watched sort of change. A little depressing, but neat nonetheless.
Yeah, I think 80s will be a lot of fun. 90s will be cool when it leans more into family type of stuff, and then you see that go away very quickly in the early 2000s. I think the next 3 decades that they cover will be a lot of fun for people.
So let's talk pizza for a second. Double Zero, we rated as our best pizza in our infamous pizza tour video, and you got to revisit it with Connor when you were in town. Did it hold up?
Yeah, I think I'm the first one to go back since they've changed over ovens to more of a gas, just standard pizza oven. And we were curious if that loses a bit of the flavor and everything like that. And I messed up. I ordered extra of the spicy candy coated chili stuff, and it probably overpowered the pizza a little bit. So I would say don't order extra. I originally said for it to be on the side, but they just put it on the pizza because I wanted to be able to add here and there. But don't order extra. That's too much. It was really good the way it was originally planned. But this time I also got the thin pizza, which is more like a tavern style, which is probably my favorite type of pizza. It's supposed to be thin and crispy. And when they came out, we were really excited about it. Still very good pizza. Still one of the better ones in Vegas. But I do think it loses a bit of that like smoky flavor to it. The crust doesn't quite have the same bite to it. And the thin crust looked beautiful, looked exactly what I wanted. It was a little bit soft underneath. I don't know if that was just the type of dough they use. So it kind of missed a little bit there. Now, saying all of that, I still put it in the top 2 or 3 in Vegas, right up there with everything else we talked about on the episode. My son, who's been to New Haven, New York, Chicago, all around Detroit, tried most of the major pizza areas in the U.S., put it in his top 3 or 4, I believe, of any pizza places he's been. So he thought very highly of it. And I think it was because of that unique spice flavor that you get. I might put Red Dwarf as number 1 now. They were just behind at number 2 before. With the new oven, I might bump them to just ahead of Double Zero Pie and Pub.
Well, let's add another competitor to the mix, Yukon Pizza. This is a pizza place that a lot of people had told us to go visit when we did the pizza video, and Dave and I went over there and checked it out as well. And so let me present that. They describe this, Mark, as heirloom wood-fired sourdough pizza, and man, is it
Sounds
good.
good.
It's very good. It's a Neapolitan kind of style sourdough crust. They also have New York slices that they sell from a slice window, but we got whole pies. Pepperoni pie was delicious. Everything was really good. I mean, this is among the best pizzas in Vegas. It's really, I would put it right up there with Double Zero. Red Dwarf, something different with the sauce and the Detroit style, but the crust is just phenomenal. Yukon Pizza on Charleston, just across from the Huntridge Theater. Definitely add it to your list. Among the best pizzas in Las Vegas. I can't believe it took me this long to get over there. It's not much of a place, though. I will say, like, we went there to go have dinner, and our wives were there, and Ellie, we didn't really look at what the setup was, and it was more of like a couple tables, and we had to sit at a countertop. So probably more of a to-go type place.
Yeah, and I know you do love your sourdough pizza. Like, that's one of your favorite things for the crust. But I hope it wasn't as sloppy as the other one that you said was really good.
It was slightly less sloppy than Settebello. It definitely had flop, though, where it wouldn't pass Portnoy's test, but it was really good. Not cheap. I think the pepperoni pie was like $23-24. Not talking a giant pie here, 14 inches, but people were super friendly in there. The staff, I just want to give a huge shout out to them because they were just letting me film, do what I wanted. Good people out there. And that oven, wood fired. There you go. Take
Yeah,
that, Double Zero.
it does add a flavor profile there that's missing at Double Zero for sure. And everybody was great at both times I've been in there. Everybody's been great there. We also should mention that they're on In Kind, which I think they just joined a couple months ago. And we've talked about it on the show before, but you can get it at a discount. The prices aren't super cheap there, but if you're buying In Kind gift cards at Costco or you use Shawn's referral and get the 25 off 50, you can go in there and have a pizza and basically get it like half price if you line up a couple of those with the sign up bonus.
Yeah, I haven't talked about In Kind in a while, but they've added a ton of restaurants, including places like pizza places and not always fine dining. So go check it out, 25 off 50 with my referral. But let's close with this, Mark. Your room at Paris. You stayed at Paris on this trip. We've talked about you going to Boulder City. We've talked about being downtown on Fremont, the Four Queens store, going to see the Wizard of Oz. But how was the room at Paris?
It was really solid. I always have liked Paris. It's probably my favorite mid-tier hotel. Definitely top one or two at Caesars. Cromwell was always number one for me. I don't know what Vanderpump will be like. When I looked for my next trip, they wanted like $500 a night. So I'm not going to be staying there unless that price drops. So Paris right now is number one, barring something happening there and I get to check it out. And we'll see if I enjoy that as much as I enjoyed Cromwell. But yeah, it's really solid. I love the casino there. I love the setup, the room, maybe a bit starting to get some wear on the furniture, but nothing noticeable. And then it was very clean. My only negative would be don't get a room right on top of the pool, which they put us in. We were on, I believe, the fourth floor. Our window was backed up right to the pool area. And at like 6 a.m., it's club music on blaring. I don't know why they turned it on so early, but I was woken up by that. And it goes until the pool dies down at 5 or 6. So if you're coming back for a nap or you're trying to sleep in or you had a late night, that is a loud room. So try to get either the other side or higher up. I don't know, but it was pretty rough.
There's nothing like that Paris giant bathtub in the afternoon when the Eiffel Tower blocks out all the sun. What a time. I agree with you. I mean, the size of this property is something I think a lot of people don't talk about. It's not as big as a lot of other properties. And so getting to your room doesn't take as long as some other properties. And the rooms, the standard rooms are pretty small. I think 360 square feet, something like that, compared to some of the other properties, smaller than a lot of the newer hotels. It's just a great place. I've never had a bad stay there. Coming off the theming in the casino, the vibe of the place, the location too. I remember just one of these magical times. It was sunset, walking out of the casino onto the strip, and the Bellagio fountains are going off across the street. Yeah, it's good times, man. I really like that place.
Yeah, it really is a beautiful casino, and I think it gets looked over a bit. Our rooms, we walked out, we came out right next to where the Vanderpump restaurant is, and you can get into the casino within a matter of minutes, which was nice. And we hung out at the center bar there, just off the casino floor. Met up with some buddies one night and had great service there nonstop. Like we weren't waiting for drinks. They were coming around very quickly and all of that. And I think they have underrated restaurants on property and breakfast, sitting there on the strip, eating breakfast at a couple of their different restaurants, looking at the fountains in the morning is probably peak Las Vegas. I don't know that there's a better place to have breakfast, really.
And all of what we said does not apply to the Versailles Tower, which is actually in Horseshoe. So if you're staying at the Paris Versailles Tower, then you're not going to walk out to the casino. You're going to walk out to the Horseshoe Casino. Nothing is close by. And yeah, everything with a grain of salt. But the rooms are bigger.
And you get to sleep in because it's not super loud.
There you go. But you have those giant screens on the corner now. I saw somebody say that the blackout curtains in the hotels in Vegas need to catch up with all the screens outside.
Yeah, that, and some people said they were going to bring clips with them to close up the curtains because sometimes there's always like that little gap, and that can blow up a whole room with light. Another hack is if you have hangers in your closet that have the clips on them for your pants and stuff, just use those, clip the two curtains together, and then you won't get any light in there.
It's getting worse, the light pollution, but Paris, a great hotel. I'd love to hear what everybody out there has to say. Is it underrated? Have you had great experiences there? The Gen X nightclub, best pizza in Las Vegas. Leave a comment. We do 3 shows a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and we will be back in a couple days with another show. Thank you so much for watching. Talk to you next time.
Now I wish I had a Red Dwarf pizza and a tiki drink. Thanks, everybody. Have a good week.